Welcome, everyone, to episode one of a new podcast I am starting with
Woo!
my good friend Wild Comanche.
Yeah.
I was Wild Comanche. Uh, we're calling it Wild Opinions. I think we suggested a couple of titles to each other, but I think that we're just going to land on that because that's a pretty catchy title as it is, and
Yeah.
I like it, and it fulfills what I was looking for, which is staying within the sort of naming scheme of my overall channel. Um, favorable opinions. I'm favorable opinions. You're wild Comanche, therefore wild opinions. I'm going to stop babbling. Introduce yourself, weirdo.
Okay, sure. I go by Wild Comanche. We're obviously going to keep our real names hidden because why not? But
Yeah,
yes,
I've got to keep your name in my back pocket in case I want to dox you.
Oh yeah, thanks. I really, really appreciate that favor.
He
Yes.
lives in the
So,
Ukraine.
no, I'm not in the Ukraine, but I'm pretty close. My life right now is I am a married in a small country called Estonia, but I am a huge nerd for the U.S. I'm only
Dude,
here just for a few years, and then
hold on,
I
hold
will
on, hold
leave.
on. Dude, you roboted at the exact worst moment. Like, what are you in Estonia?
I am a missionary in Estonia.
There it is. You you turned
So,
into you turned into like one of the Decepticons from the Michael Bay movies, right when you were explaining yourself. I am a in
which Michael
Estonia.
Bay movie?
The first one. I'm thinking of Frenzy, the Boombot one.
Yes, Frenzy. So, I am Wild Comanche. I am currently a missionary in Estonia. It's a small little country by Russia. It's not in Russia. It's okay. And I am not an expert in anything, but I know a lot about a lot. And one of those things I know a ton about is nerdy things
Hmm.
from all different dimensions.
Hmm. Humblest man on
And,
the planet as well. He knows a lot about a lot.
well, yeah, just enough.
I also appreciate when I said that you live in Ukraine. You're like, no, I don't, but I do live close. Like when you said, but I do live, I was like, oh my god, I just got this guy to dox himself.
I live well.
Actually,
So I can tell you what country I'm in, but I can't tell you where I'm at and where I live because that would be too weird.
yeah, but no, I thought it was so funny. It's like number one most effective way to dox a nerd. Just say the wrong country he's in, and he will tell you his real address to prove you wrong.
Yeah, that happens. Yes. So, yeah, I'm a huge nerd. Favor here has actually gotten me into some other things, especially that we want to talk about here this particular episode. There's a bunch of things he's gotten me into, like Transformers, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. There's a particular YouTube channel that he and I both are big fans of called Every Frame a Pause, or it's shortened for EFAP, with the guys there,
Yeah.
along with
Well,
um,
the name of the
Nerd
actual
Rod.
channel, the name of the channel itself is Mooler. They don't have a dedicated EFAP channel.
Sure.
It's just it's
But
just a second channel.
if you do Google Every Frame a Pause or EFAP, it'll come up as that. Be careful with EFAP though. We don't want to go down any
Yeah.
dark roads.
Yeah.
But so yes, so one of the things I know we have talked about today, definitely, and over the past, what, 3 months, has been Transformers.
Oh yes. Ugh. Because
And I will tell
I
you this. I've
yeah,
really grown to love Transformers more and more.
I knew you would.
Like, I grew up as a kid in Transformers. Like, I grew up in the 90s, so I actually got to watch Beast Wars. And
Yeah, which by the way, like sneakily goated time for Transformers. Like Beast Wars is still arguably the best show they've ever put out.
yeah, I could definitely agree with that. Beast Wars is definitely like the one. And obviously, it has some of the best quotes, like from Megatron, the ones that we
Yeah.
like to say. And then it has also one of the most hilarious characters of all time, Waspinator. Yes.
Dude,
Uh,
it's from the tail end of a time when like TV shows were still could still take themselves 100% seriously and also make characters that sounded like that.
yeah, and I think that's what's the brilliance of that, because it was obviously the show had came out right around the same time as like some of the most famous animes it came out. And so they could kind of like poke jokes at themselves, but at the same time they were like still super serious shows. Like Dragon Ball Z. I know your opinions on Dragon Ball Z because obviously we're both JoJo fans.
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
Dragon Ball Z is
my
actually
opinions on Dragon Ball Z are not tied to being a JoJo fan. My opinions on Dragon Ball Z are tied to being able to assess quality. But go ahead.
exactly my point. A person who knows how to assess quality obviously likes JoJo, not Dragon Ball Z. But and I agree with you on that. But the thing is, like Dragon Ball, I grew up on. I also
Yeah.
grew up watching stuff like some earlier Gundam stuff. After Beast Wars, I also went into another show, and I started trying to go back and watch this show again, and it was just absolutely trash. But it was Transformers Armada. Uh,
Yes.
it's I tried to watch like 2 episodes of it. It was so cringe. Like I grew up also
Yeah.
watching Yu-Gi-Oh, and Yu-Gi-Oh is so cringe to watch now. It's so bad.
Well, that's why I say like the '90s is kind of the tail end where like TV shows could take themselves really seriously and also be very good and have characters that sound like Waspinator. And then you get into the early 2000s where they take themselves seriously and still have characters that sound weird, but they're bad. And now we've gotten to the modern age where it's like they can take themselves seriously and be good, but they're not going to have characters sound weird.
Or, or hear me out. They're gonna have characters. They're gonna have shows that are gonna try to be really good, and they're gonna have characters that are gonna wind their way into being the main character. Insert My Hero Academia.
Yeah, gosh, I'm glad I never kept up with that. Um, Dude, I still remember.
I watched too many seasons of it.
How many seasons?
I said too many. I think I watched 5.
Yeah, I think I dipped
Yeah, 5 seasons.
whatever season where All Might fights All for One and loses his powers for real is the season I dipped on. Um,
Spoilers, but yes, that's season 3.
dude, I don't think there's literally anyone on the face of the planet who cares about My Hero Academia anymore. Certainly not spoilers. Um, but
Except for like the die-hard fans,
yeah, the people who weren't
which
turned off
honestly,
by
this
the
show is
ending.
just crap.
Well, this leads me into my
I
point,
don't
which
even
is,
know the ending.
uh, dude, I forget all the it. I read I didn't read the ending, but I read like a summary of the ending, and I don't remember all the details. But I remember the big thing that people were roasting the series for is it ends with Deku has lost his powers, and so now he's like become like Alfred or something like that. Like he's assisting other heroes with powers because like the like One for All has like been extinguished in the final fight with whoever the villain was because it wasn't All for One at that point. And so he's like working as like a sidekick to Hero, so he still gets to fulfill his dream of being a hero, but he's like not actually got superpowers. He's not in the field, and he's like living on his own. He keeps to himself, like he just like they it specifically made a point of being like he's become like a lone wolf who doesn't have any friends anymore because he spends all this time doing heroing. It specifically says that like he and Urarara didn't, whatever her name was, didn't get together, and so people were like making all these jokes about Deku being a cuck, because of that. I saw more than
That's
one
so
fan.
ridiculous.
I saw more than one fan drawing of Deku as like a McDonald's worker who has to serve food to Urarara and his bully, what's his name, Bakugo, because they're together.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
they're not together in the comic, but
Oh,
that
it's
was
so cringe.
yeah, they're not together in the manga, but that was the joke of the comic is like this is the natural end of Deku is Bakugo steals his girl. But dude, the thing that pissed me off is I wasn't reading at this point, but I was like because I had been slightly invested up to a point. I was reading summaries to see what was happening, and dude, my Hero Academia falls into the same. This is a problem with literally every single anime on the face of the planet. Even JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like, JoJo kills off characters, which is part of the reason I like it, because it's not scared to kill off characters, but there's still insane plot armor. Like, there's insane plot armor in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because it's an anime, and unless you're Berserk, you just have to have like plot armor in an anime. I think you will. I think manga authors will literally be forced to commit seppuku by their bosses if they don't put plot armor in their stories. But
I did. Oh, like basically, you mentioned plot armor the entire time, and I'm just thinking, man, Jotaro had so much plot armor.
dude, yeah, Jotaro, but not just. But that plot armor didn't hold forever. It's part of why Part Six is so goaded.
You said
But
the name. You said the name.
but but dude, all of them, like Joseph, like are like if we're being honest, when I send you those memes of people being like, "Who wins in a fight, Joseph or Superman?" and it's like Joseph would just that like the joke is that Joseph is more plot armored even than Jotaro. It's like young Joseph is Bugs Bunny, like he just pulls stuff out of thin air to win fights. Give him a rusty shovel and give him a rusty shovel and a stick of gum, and he will defeat the Justice League by himself. Like, which is why, don't get me wrong, I love Joseph, but like, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. He's a Looney Tunes character, and that's part of what makes him so fun.
I think personally, I need to go back and rewatch it because I remember when we were watching it together, I was kind of in and out of tiredness and like not paying attention. But now I completely understand why the series is so good because obviously I have finished part 6 and to
Yeah.
see like how they got there, oh my gosh, it was like okay, I really feel personally you could just watch 1, 2, 3, and 6 and you could get the whole story. You
You
really don't
can.
need to watch anything else.
You
But
can.
4 and 5 are there to add more.
They do add more. Like the most of the lore about stands and how they work come from parts 4 and 5. I remember I was having to pause part 6 and explain to you like lore about how stands work because we skipped the two parts that like give more explanation for it. I will also say that's something that I guess is would make me controversial in the JoJo community. It's a commonly accepted rule among JoJo's fans that you don't tolerate part skippers. You come for their scalps. You don't let them live. You don't let them skip parts. Like it's like we all all of us true JoJo's fans, we had to wade through the gunk and the sewage of part one, which I'm not, dude. Part one has Dio and it's got Speedwagon, and I like Jonathan. Jonathan's not a very interesting character, but I like him. But like everyone accepts that part one is the horrible season, is not season, the horrible arc that you have to get through. And if you're going to be a true JoJo's fan, you've got to get through it. And so in the JoJo's fandom, we don't tolerate part skippers. And I guess I'm a little bit of a traitor. I'm a little bit of a traitor to my people in this way. But I was merciful to you, Comanche. Comanche. I said, okay, that's fine. We don't need to watch part four or part five. We don't need to watch one of the best arcs in the original universe. I will be merciful to you, and I will spare you from the good stuff. I only made you
Which
watch
one
the
do you
cringe
say is
part
the
one.
best part?
The best part is part six. We watched that, but I would say the second best part in the original universe is for me is a tie between part two, which is Joseph, and part four, which is the original Josuke.
And so, where do you rank part five at?
I I'm controversial. People love part five. I would rank part five. So, including mangas, right? So, including the manga parts right now, I'm going to try and give you my ranking of how good I think they are, not like what my favorite is, right? Trying to go
Sure.
objectively. I would say I rank them part seven, part six, and then it's kind of a three-way tie, and it depends on the day between parts two, four, and eight for me. Like those three are all sitting about the same as each other in quality. And then I would
Did you
say,
say that part? Didn't you say that part eight kind of like flubs the ending?
yes, part eight flubs. Part eight's ending isn't very good, but I also don't think part six's ending it. Not part six. I also don't think part two's ending is great. Like remember, part two ends with Cars becomes like a literal unkillable god. And the way he's defeated is it just so happens the volcano he and Joseph are fighting on erupts and throws Cars into space, where frozen by the vacuum of space.
I mean, it works.
It works, and you can say the same thing about Part Eight's ending. It works. It's just incredibly rushed. I don't know what I don't know what happens with Araki, but it feels like out of nowhere he just got intensely tired of writing part 8, and so he just wrapped up a battle that probably should have taken at least another 10 chapters in like 2. It's so rushed. It's weird. I don't get it.
Okay. I need to read part eight really badly. I know that. I definitely need to read part nine too because it's still coming out right now. We
Yeah,
started reading it,
it's still
and
coming out. And
then
I told you in January if Arky doesn't miss a month because he's been taking lots of months off with this arc, probably because he's getting older. Sad as I am to say it, if he doesn't miss any months, he's gonna hit chapter 1000 in December, and he hasn't missed a month yet. So we're on track for chapter 1000 this year.
I mean, that's a phenomenal thing to hear. Definitely.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, what? I'm looking it up right now. JoJo Lands chapter 37 is the. Wait a second. Oh, okay, never mind. I
What?
pulled up the JoJo Lands like w9.jojolands.com, jojolandsmanga.com, and it pulls up and it's got like an image of Jolene there. I was like, wait a second, what's she doing here? Is she in JoJo? And I was like, oh no, it changes. It's just like it has all of the Joes and the image
Yeah.
at the top. But yes, I need to go back and just start over JoJo Lands and read it again. Because
Yes. If I
like
can. Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, like personally, I remember like some of it was kind of weird, but since I've started reading Steel Ball Run, holy cow.
Yeah. You've
Like
It's like there's a there's a meme on EFAP. There's a line from Game of Thrones where one of the characters is dying. He says, "Give me something for the pain and let me die." And there's a meme on EFAP where they will often, when talking about something bad, say, "Give me something for the cringe and let me die." It's like, and with JoJo, it's not give me something for the cringe. It's like give. It's like give me something for the tism, and once you're accustomed to it and you've built up a tolerance, you're like, oh wow, this is actually one of the greatest stories ever written. I just had to get past all. I just had to get past the fact that Arky. I just need to get past for the fact that Arky seems to be an alien who doesn't fully get how to write reality.
Yeah, I completely get that, especially like with the idea of like the strange characters. Like I'm in freaking I'm in Steel Ball Run right now, and to see this amorphous blob-like humanoid coming out of Johnny, I'm like, what in the world is this?
Yeah, what's the name of the arc you're currently on in it? That'll help me know where you're at.
Give me 1 second. I actually need to go grab my Kindle to figure out where I'm at.
I guess I've
I
got to keep.
actually have been reading it here through my Kindle device because
Yes,
it's easier than having to carry around 47 books or something like that. I have like
because you're a disgusting Zoomer who hates real books.
I'm a millennial. Get it right, troglodyte. Right. I actually have the Silmarillion here and the Path of Destruction, book 1 of the Darth Bane trilogy. Haha, suck it.
Oh my god, dude! Dude! Oh my god, dude! Sorry, real quick. I'm reading the New Jedi Order. I say reading. I haven't picked it up in like 3 years at this point, but I'm 8 books in to the 19 book New Jedi Order, and then after that, there's a sequel that's 9 books called Legacy of the Force, and then there's a sequel after that called Fate of the Jedi. I've got to read all of those. That's 18 plus 19. That's over 30. So many books, and then I want to read Darth Bane. It's like, dude, there's so much. And I just bought that book I told you about, Book of the New Sun, because it looks so cool. It's like, dude, I'm never going to finish all this. I'm never going to finish all the reading I have to do. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so sorry. I am. What says here? It says I'm on chapter 37, which is part 2 of the Green Gravestone. I need to go back 1 chapter just to figure out where I was at.
Chapter
But
37,
then
you
after
said?
that, yeah, after 37.
Dude, that's hilarious. You just established that 37 is the chapter that JoJo Lance is currently on.
Oh, shoot. How about that? Okay, so it says here the 3 sections that are in this particular volume that I'm reading, which is volume 5, is the Green Gravestone, which is part 2 of that. Then the 2 parts of Stroboscope, which is One Stormy Night, and then the 3 parts of Silent Ways, which I know these are the English translations of these because we've already established that they are going to do something super stupid with the dub translation of one particular character's stand in the series, and I'm not looking forward to that. I'm talking about Funny Valentine's character.
Oh, you've heard about the translated name they gave him?
Yeah, it's like something stupid.
So the name of the stand in the original, because for people listening, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, it's known for its music references. The author is a big fan of Western music. All for in the first 2 parts, or actually really first 3 parts, which would correspond to 2 seasons of the anime. All of the characters were named after bands. So like the characters were named Dio Brando, Robert E.O. Speedwagon, Caesar Zeppeli, um, which those are all like corruptions of band names. Zeppeli, Led Zeppelin, Robert Speedwagon, REO Speedwagon. Then Dio Brando, Ronnie James Dio. There were characters who, and then something I do like is he would like to represent characters that were. All these characters were named after Western bands because they're Western characters. Something I
Wait,
appreciated is
wait,
for
wait, 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 wait. There's another. Okay, he made a double reference with Dio.
Yes, his last name is Marlon Brando, the actor. That is a
Yeah, yeah. I just made that connection. Oh my gosh, I'm so slow.
yeah. Film actors are less like film references are less frequent with him, but he also references film. But as the series went on and he started incorporating more characters from like Japan, he doesn't name Japanese characters after Japanese bands. So what he started to do is characters have these things called stands, which stands are a physical manifestation of your soul. Like your soul can physically manifest itself outside of your body and do things. And so now what he's doing is instead of naming characters after songs, he's naming their stands after songs. So, for example, you have stands like Crazy Diamond, which is Shine On You Crazy Diamond by Pink Floyd, Killer Queen, like the Queen song, so on and so forth. And
Captain
because,
Wet, I think, is another one.
yeah, that's part 8 Josuke stand, which is named after the first single Prince ever released. Not his best song, but it's also his first song, so that is to be expected. Um, but so because Viz Media, which does the translation of the manga, and I don't know who does the translation of the anime, but I think it's the same company, because they don't want to get sued for copyright infringement, they have changed the names of all of these. They usually don't have to change the names of the characters, like Robert E.O. Speedwagon. They just name him that because like it's Robert Speedwagon. The name of the band is REO Speedwagon. Like it's different enough that they feel comfortable doing that. They don't feel the need to rename Gyro Zeppeli or Caesar Zeppeli or Will Zeppeli because it's Led Zeppelin, not Zeppeli. So like they feel comfortable with those, but with stands, which are just the name, they often feel the need to change them. And everyone and their mother who knows about copyright will point out that that's not necessary. Copyright does not cover names in that way. Like a band being named something does not mean that something else in a different field cannot also be named that. And that's specific. It's like because JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a different medium than music, they are actually legally allowed to use those names. But as we know, the U.S. legal system is not always concerned with what's legal; it's concerned with who has the most money. And so Viz Media is like, we could be sued into oblivion um, by one of these bands, and we wouldn't have enough money to fight it. So we're just going to be safe. And so they change a lot of um, these names. Like for example, Crazy Diamond was renamed Shining Diamonds, so on and so forth. I talked for a long time, Comanche. I'll give you remembered it this time. I will give you a chance to add in a minute. But the example is the main villain, Funny Valentine stand in Steel Ball Run, is named Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap after the AC/DC song, and it has just been revealed recently that Viz's localization, their translation of that is Devilish Deeds Done Damned Coldly, which
Well,
I
so
appreciate.
actually, I have it pulled up here. Now, mind you, this is Google AI. I don't know how accurate this is, but it says here they have later switched it to Devilish Deeds Done Damned Cheap. But there was an original name that they had changed it to first, and it was completely off because it
Now,
wasn't five
I know.
words, it's 6 words.
Really, 6 words. So that's not the one I was thinking of because there have been JoJo's Bizarre Adventure video games that have been released in America that include Valentine for like 10 years ago, and so they had to come up with an English version of his name like 10 years ago. And I remember because I played the video games. In the video games, the name of his stand was Filthy Acts at Acceptable Prices or something like that, which people didn't like that
This
either.
it's close to that. It's very close to that. It's filthy acts at a reasonable price.
Oh, that's it. That's it. No, so you're
Yeah,
right. That's what it
that's
was,
ridiculous.
dude. I feel bad for them
Like
because they feel trapped that they have to do this. Neither of those are good, and part of the reason they kept it the way they did it the way they did is devilish deeds done damned cheap. Um, devilish deeds done damn cheap is because in the manga in the Japanese version, it'll often abbreviate the stand's name is D for C, like D number 4C, and so I assume they wanted to keep that nickname. They wanted to keep it as like a name with 5 words, 4 of them starting with D and one starting with C, so they keep the D for C thing. Dude, at that point, I'm like, just do something else. Like, if you're gonna change it, like part of it is I hate that the name doesn't roll off the tongue. Like that's part of the genius of the ACDC track is it rolls off the tongue so well. Dirty deeds, done dirt cheap. Like it flows so well.
Copyright loss.
What?
Copyright.
Yeah, but
And demonetized.
but devilish deeds done uh damn cheap. That just doesn't roll off the tongue at all. That's what makes me hate it. I saw it and there was an initial blast of oh I liked it. I liked that they found a way to keep the alliteration with the same letters. I really appreciate that. And then my brain processed it for like another half second. And I was like, wow, that just doesn't sound good though.
Yeah, it sounds very bad, and like I'm excited personally. I'm very very excited to get to actually watch the series along with you,
Yes.
because you have been hyping up this series for me since really I have been like, I would say so. We started watching JoJo back in 2023 ish, maybe 22,
It
and
couldn't have,
as we
yeah,
were
it couldn't have been
watching
later
it.
than 2023.
But so as we were continually watching through this, like you kept like talking to me about how like this is so different and this and that and whatever, and you kept bringing up like part seven. I'm like, well, part seven, the guy looks kind of gay. Like I'm not a fan of this, and I think that is personally. I'm sorry about the chair here. This thing is so freaking squeaky. Personally, I think the barrier of entry when it comes to JoJo's is the artwork because
Well,
um
it
primest of
depends.
primest of examples on my point that I'm making here is my brother. I love my brother. My brother is autistic and also like one of he's deeply autistic. He's unable to hold a job. He's basically just stays at home and my parents have guardianship over him. So it's not like he's got autism because he's quirky. Nah, he was diagnosed at the age of 3.
Yeah, he's not
And
Pico
it was
quirky.
yeah, he's not neurodivergent. He's freaking autistic. And so he he's a huge anime fan. Anime has been the one thing that has been his like go-to thing since we were kids. And we watched anime as much as we could. He has I just had a call with him I think 3 days ago, maybe 2 days ago, and he says he has completed in watching 927 animes.
He's got me beat.
And oh yeah, he's got a lot of people beat. But the thing is this, like I've heard about some people who are in like the 1,000 anime club. And I'm just like, wow, you guys need to get a life. But
I was on track for
us,
that when I was in high school.
yeah, that it's an insane number. I will definitely tell you, and I don't think I will personally ever reach probably 200 because I
No.
personally I don't have the attention span to sit down and just sit and watch a show anymore. I just can't
Yeah,
do it. I got to do something.
that is a big part of it. Like I need to force myself to sit down and watch TV shows because otherwise I'd like to just have like a podcast up as a second monitor while I'm doing stuff.
Exactly, and that's the exact same perspective I have. So I've spoke with him about checking out JoJo's, and he's like, "No, I'm not doing it. I'm not." And it's not that my brother's like a transphobe or anything like that. He says that the artwork makes him feel weird. And he's just like, I don't like it because it just makes me like, it gives me the heebie jeebies. And he's like, I'm guessing to him it's like it's gay or something like that or whatever. And
I mean,
the
that's the
artwork,
big meme about JoJo. Yeah.
yeah, and that's the huge meme, especially since like the days of OG Dio. Not OG Dio, I'm talking part 3 Dio.
Mhm. But I've
Um,
also I've got visual illustrations to go along with what we're talking about.
yes. So, like personally, I tried to get him to like watch any of JoJo's, and he just won't do it. I asked him very, very nicely. I was like, because Steel Ball Run episode one came out, and I was like, hey, dude, I really, really, yes, okay, these images right here, like, they give off all the
Well,
all
also,
the homosexual tension.
but also what I was saying is like it also depends on like it literally depends not even on which arc you're reading because like we've Araki's well known for he changes his art style with every arc because he likes to try new stuff. This is Araki trying out a new art style at the very beginning of Steel Ball Run, right? And
Yes.
by the time you get to the end of it, this is his art. I think this is gorgeous. Like this looks great. Like the level of detail, like the way the hair like flows, like the realism
I
of like
think
even
I think for people like my brother, it's the lips.
it
The lips
probably
is the
like.
only thing.
But like again, like I love
And
Steel Ball Run has some of my favorite art of the entire series. Like I love the character designs. By the way, this is one of the things that like where I kind of halfway agreed with people who are criticizing Johnny's design in the anime. It comes down to what I was telling you about over Instagram is like I know I've been waiting for this for like 10 years, so nothing's ever going to fully satisfy me. I was really disappointed if you look at Johnny's hair. Like it looks the physics of how it flows and like curls looks so realistic that like I was disappointed that the anime looked blockier. But it's like at that point, it's like, dude, it's an anime. They've got a budget. Like they have to. Like
yeah,
there's nothing they can do about it.
and so that's I think that's kind of where I was too because like I'd seen some memes or whatever. Like I remember there was one video I saw from back in the day. I think it was like a reel or something like that, maybe on Instagram. Or, I know it was past Vine time, and a person was. It may have actually been on TikTok now that I think about it. Back when TikTok had just switched over from just like the dancing girls app to actually like people being able to do stuff. And at that point, someone's like, "Oh, like I'm just trying to get my friend into anime," and they're like, "What are we gonna do? We're just gonna watch an episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure." And then the guy and his friend are sitting there like, "Oh yeah, the episode was okay," and then they watch episode two, and then they watch like four episodes, and the buddy's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go to sleep now," and then he goes to sleep, and he wakes up at 2 a.m., and the friend is still sitting there watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and has just plowed through parts one. He's almost finished with part two, and he's about to hit Stardust Crusaders, and the dude is just
Nice.
absolutely obsessed. And I do personally feel the same way, roughly. When we got to Stardust Crusaders, I was hooked.
You were hooked, but like
Immediately,
I will also say like you were hooked at part Stardust Crusaders, but I also distinctly remember like this is part of why like dude, Joseph is so goaded. Like I remember, like it's like you came back to life a little bit as soon as Joseph was on screen because Joseph is just so awesome.
yeah, yeah, Joseph, like his iconic lines from part three, and then also, like, I liked the general theme of part three. I will say it's not the best theme wise. Like, I feel part two was better than part three,
I agree.
but at the same time, I feel like three will pull in more audiences than two.
No, it definitely will. Like three has been the most popular part forever. Like there was a part back in the early '90s. There was an American comic company that actually tried to release JoJo's Bizarre Adventure earlier. Like you remember, like it took until 2012 that they actually got official release. They tried it in the
Are you
early
talking
'90s.
about the anime?
No, they did that they did the 6 episode OVA, but that also America tried uh buying the rights to release JoJo in the US because like manga was starting to take off with Dragon Ball, so they got JoJo, but they skipped parts 1 and 2. They started publishing Stardust Crusaders first because it was the most popular in Japan. And it crashed and burned. It didn't sell anything, and that's why it took another like 15 years before Viz Media bought the license and tried again, and it worked a lot better the second time. But even back to the 90s, like it's always been recognized that Part 3 is the most popular. That's why, dude. Remember when I had that like tism fit and like completely broke down all the statistics of like the adaption rates of each part and like how many
Yes,
chapters like
yes.
part three is adapted at like half the rate of every other part because they knew it was the most popular. Like if part three were adapted, part three is 48 episodes. It's the longest arc in the anime. If it were adapted at the same rate as all of the other arcs, it would be like it would have like probably 30 episodes. It would be shorter than part 4. It would be shorter than part 5. It would be shorter than part 6. It would be shorter than part 7 is going to be. But, like, they adapted it way slower because they wanted to get more money out of it and they knew it was the most popular one. And as a result, lots of people actually hate part three's anime. I know people who think that the anime version of part 3 ruined the story. I don't agree, but I think it definitely hurt the pacing. I think that part 3 as an anime would be way better if it were at least 10 episodes shorter.
I agree with you on that. Probably, I think honestly they could have shrunk it down to something like 25, 30 episodes, and
They could
gotten
have
away
because
with it.
remember, Stardust Crusaders and manga part 3 is 152 chapters. Part 5 is like 155, and then part 6 is 159, and parts 4, 5, and 6 are all between 39, 38 and 39 episodes in the anime. They're all of them like parts 5 and 6 are both the same amount of chapters in the manga as part 3, but they're 10 episodes shorter than the part 3 anime.
Hmm.
So like you're saying they probably could have shaved it down to like 30. They could have because they did it with every other part.
Yeah, and I think there obviously there were some parts in those episodes that were a little long, but at the same time, they got the point across, and they did
Yeah.
the whole I hate to make the reference to it, but so where Favor here is a JoJo expert, I'm a One Piece expert.
Yes, we
And
are going to talk about One Piece on here eventually.
yes, as JoJo in Part Three did the One Piece thing, where they just added a whole bunch of extra space building up to the moment.
Well,
Um,
that's the thing.
and
They didn't add filler. There's no like filler in the anime. They just like slowed everything way down.
and that's what One Piece the anime did.
Yeah.
The anime does that. It doesn't really add a ton of filler. There's in total for One Piece, there's less than 100 episodes of actual filler. There is a little bit of mixed filler in with the actual episodes, but it's very, very minute. The
Yeah.
majority of what people call One Piece filler is like Luffy's going to throw a punch and it shows it from like 18 angles, and then it finally connects with the face, and then it
Oh,
connects with the face four more times.
and then there's the meme. There's the it's eight angles of him about to punch the guy, and then there's a flashback of Shanks saving him as a child and losing his arm, and then it
Yes,
connects.
yes. It's there's so many different filler points within One Piece, but at the same time, if you're able to push past that filler, watch One Piece at 1.2 speed or 1.5 speed, and
Dude, I'm just
or
reading the
there's
manga.
even reading the manga, or there's another option which they actually there's a couple guys I think, or one person has been working on for a couple years now. They have actually been working on this site called One Pace, Pace, and it's actually cutting all of that out of it to where it's like instead of the 8 angles, it's like 2 angles at max, and it lines up more with the manga because when watching the manga or when watching the anime did fine in the first like 400 episodes. I think it did like pretty good. There wasn't a ton of filler within the first 400 episodes. Mind you, there was some. And that's where
Dude,
you'll actually get the bulk of the filler.
dude, only a One Piece fan. Yeah, the anime did all right for the first couple 400 couple episodes.
Shut up. Okay. The first 400 episodes, you watch like how they're pacing versus the manga, and the numbers are staying fairly the same. Mind you, they have to do a couple filler episodes here and there, but that's about it.
Dude, I'm like hardcore flashing back to like every One Piece fan will tell you like One Piece gets really good after the first 400 episodes, and then it's like the other side of the coin. The monkey's paw curling is like it's like One Piece gets good after 400 episodes. Caveat: that's also where the filler starts.
Caveat: that's where the hyper filler within the episodes that actually isn't filler occurs. No, so
Yeah.
the first 400 episodes, you actually don't experience a lot of this like 8 angles and like flashback to Shanks, and then you have the punch. The first 400 episodes don't do that a ton, but then you get past that, which spoilers, there's a time skip in the middle of One Piece between the front half of the Grand Line and the back half of the Grand Line. And
Spoilers.
and the front half of the Grand Line, there's not the 8 different angles with the flashback of Shank and then 14 different hits on the dude, and it's actually only supposed to be one.
Yeah.
Whereas in the second half, after the time skip, there is a lot more of that, but it's because they're super climactic and cinematic moments. Um, and I can understand why they do some of it, but some of it gets a little out of hand. As a One Piece fan, I'll definitely admit to you that I still haven't even finished catching up to One Piece. I've been working
Oh, I
on
know
it
all about that.
2023. I've been trying to catch back up with One Piece. I I actually read all of One Piece up until volume 74, 75, somewhere around there. And so and then I started just watching it because I could watch more than I could read because I'm just not the fastest reader.
Hmm.
And in the process of doing so, like I finally pushed through and I got to one particular arc, and then after I got to that arc, I just like paused, and I paused for a year, and then I finally sat down and watched the rest of that particular arc with my friend. And he's like, dude, you just need to watch this because this is absolutely pure cinema. And I finally watched it all, and truly, like, I can tell you, for me personally, I think One Piece is my favorite show. But I can personally tell you, with what I have been reading over the last month, in the last couple months, with reading JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 7, Steel Ball Run, if the manga is followed perfectly, by the people animating it. I really think Steel Ball Run could possibly be a contender. Not for
Yeah.
sure, but it's possible.
Oh yeah, I know, and it is for sure. You're like 37 chapters in. That's like exactly a third of the. You're exactly a third of the way in. You still have yet to get to the best stuff. Like,
Now,
but no,
with all
like
the
yeah,
stuff that
it's going to be your favorite. Yes, go ahead.
now that we've talked about all this stuff about like what you've truly been getting me into with JoJo's, I really wanted to bring this up personally after we started discussing like what we were going to discuss here in our first episode, and that was Transformers.
Before we get into that, real quick, put a pin in that. I want you to remember that. I obviously want to talk about this, but there is something all the way back in the My Hero Academia discussion I've been waiting to tell you
Oh no.
because I wasn't done telling you how bad that series got from what I read online.
Oh,
And so I want to get this in before we completely transition away from anime. Dude, I do you remember? Did you ever get to the part of the anime that was about All Might's sidekick, Sir Night Eye, or something?
um, yes, Night Eye. He was able to like see the future, stuff like that.
Yeah, and
So his
he's
whole section was part four.
yeah, and
Season
so
4.
like the backstory on him is he stopped being All Might's sidekick because he had like a future vision that if All Might continued being a superhero, he would die, and All Might would not stop being a superhero despite that. And Sir Night Eye couldn't bear to be around knowing that he was going to die eventually, right?
Yes.
So, Luke, talking about plot armor, it's revealed at the end of the story. All Might goes out to fight again. He doesn't have his powers anymore, so he's wearing a giant mech suit, which that on its own I thought was kind of cool. Depowered All Might fighting in a mech suit, and he fights. And I don't remember everything that happens because I only read a summary online. But he almost dies. He's about to die. This is the thing. They're writing like the author's writing like, oh, this is the point Night Eye told him about. He's gonna die because like a dingus, he went out and kept being a hero the fool. He should not have been a hero. He's going to die. And then he doesn't die. He survives. And All Might sees like the ghost of Sir Night Eye. He's like, how is this possible? You told me that if I kept being All Might, I would lose. I would die. And the fight ends with him like he's got a little bit of one for all left in him. The last embers of one for all go out, and so he truly no longer has powers anymore. And the ghost of Sir Night Eye is like, yes, I did tell you that, but I didn't tell you the full context. The full context is the future I saw of you dying was this future, where you lose your powers for good. And All Might did die. You figuratively died. All Might figuratively died. It was a metaphorical death. All Might is metaphorically dead, but you yourself are not actually literally dead, so you get to keep on living. And I was reading this like, wasn't his whole point that he wanted All Might to stop being a superhero so that he wouldn't die? And the death he's talking about is All Might losing his power so he can't be a hero anymore? I'm sorry, what? What in
Yeah.
what in the holy autism is this, Batman?
Yeah, it's like okay, so I remember watching the fight between All Might and All for One and hearing the United States of Smash. And I thought like cool, but then like I really felt like the show should have ended at that point. Um
Dude, there's also that. That's why I jumped ship after that fight because I felt the same way. The next arc after that is them taking their final exams for their hero license. I was like, dude, this is so stupid.
the part that's so hard to
They just the
watch
last
the
arc
show
was
is
Darth. The last arc was Darth Vader, Voldemort, Satan getting defeated. Why are we? Why do I care about this? Go ahead.
the part that's so bad about My Hero is that it flip flops between this, oh, I got this like this like mediocre job I gotta go do, so I'm gonna go do the thing. Blah 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Batman swoops in and he has to fight Bane in the middle of town square. Oh, a massive fight breaks out.
Yeah.
City destroying. Oh, my mundane life is pretty nice, and it just hops back and forth between
Yes.
this, and it's so it's so what's the word
I,
radicalized between the mundane and the important.
well, like it doesn't
And
know how to balance stakes. It's trying to do the thing
yeah,
that Harry Potter did because Harry Potter had the same structure. Where, like every book begins with like the school year starting out, and everything's normal, and then it gradually ramps up more and more until some big plot with Voldemort happens. But the difference with Harry Potter is Harry Potter like it would do the build up, would have the big explosion at the end of the book, and then you'd have an entire other book after to slowly build it up again. It's all over time. It's all done so well, and every time the build up is to a different high each time. Like each book has a bigger extreme it's building to. Like the first book, Voldemort's trying to come back. We defeat him. The second book, Voldemort's soul is possessing uh, the sister of Harry's friend. He's got to defeat him. The third book, Harry's parents' best friend who was accused of betraying them has broken out of maximum security prison, and we think he's coming to assassinate Harry. The fourth book, Voldemort's back. He actually succeeded in coming back. The fifth book, Harry's like closest thing to a father figure gets murked. Book six, Dumbledore dies. Book seven, final battle with Voldemort. It keeps building up more and more. And yeah, My Hero Academia is just one arc. Like Satan got the Infinity Gauntlet. We got to defeat him. The second arc, we got to pass our final exams. The third arc, Satan got the Infinity Gauntlet +1. What are we gonna do now? It's like, dude, this.
it's so bad. It's like Satan got the Infinity Gauntlet and snapped his fingers. I have to
What are
pass
we gonna
my
do now?
A1 exam.
Oh man, I can't pass my driver's exam test because Satan dusted him with the Infinity Gauntlet. What am I gonna
That's
do
really
now?
cool. Okay, you remember a few months back, I believe I was back in the States for a little bit. And me and you got together and we started putting together like two or one sentence phrases that described each JoJo part. I feel like it's the exact same thing, but super bad. Like it's so atrocious. I can't complete my driver's license exam because Satan got the Infinity Gauntlet and snapped his fingers.
Yeah, I can't complete my driver's license exam because my driving instructor was one of the people Satan dusted with the Infinity Gauntlets. Guess we gotta go defeat Satan! I need my driver's
Guess we
license!
gotta go defeat Satan in a dungeon in another world.
Because I need my driver's license.
Yes. It's so bad. Like,
Gosh. Dude,
what was
anime
it we were
sucks.
saying? What was the thing we said about part one? It's like,
Like
uh,
a British noble's life is turned upside down when his bisexual adopted brother turns himself into a vampire or something like that.
no, I said something like, um, uh, oh no, Daddy just adopted new stepdad, which is actually a homosexual, ultra flamboyant vampire man, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds like it. That sounds like an anime title just on its own. Oh my gosh.
Or like part three. Oh no, mom's dying now. I gotta travel to Egypt to kill a highly
No,
flamboyant bisexual, no, a highly flamboyant homosexual vampire man,
no.
and
It's like
and his tarot henchman.
no, it's like oh no, my mom's dying because my great great grandfather's highly flamboyant homosexual vampire adopted brother is still alive.
in another world.
Got yeah, Egypt, another world.
Well, I mean, it's just like the isekai thing that me and you used to do.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I remember what you're referencing. I just like the implication that Egypt's a different planet.
exactly, it's entirely different. But yes, so yeah, it's just I wish like yeah, as we can see with good storytelling, you know when it's a good story because it doesn't have the hyper radicalization between the mundane and the like major plot points of like Satan picking up the Infinity Gauntlet. Holy crap! Now I can't finish my driver's license test.
Well, that's the thing I would say. That's why I brought up Harry Potter as an example, because Harry Potter has those hyper radicalized differences, but the difference is Harry Potter knew how to structure its story so that like you built up to it with each book, and it didn't feel like whiplash at the beginning of the next book. Like, dude, like for example, because I say it's mundane, but like J.K. Rowling, bless her soul, knows how to structure a story, and so it's like the after the book where Voldemort comes back to life for real, the next book begins with Harry and his cousin Dudley almost getting their souls sucked out by Dementors that were assigned to kill them, like so it's like she still knew like you can't just go back. You can't just start back at Harry's getting bullied by his cousin again in book five after Wizard Hitler came back to life. You can't like you gotta have some bit of balancing, and she knew what to do. Which apparently she's the only one who knows how to do that because everyone else who tried to copy the it's a boarding school, but wizards or superpowers or something. No one else knows how to balance the mundane school stuff with the fantastical otherworldliness of whatever they're combining the school stuff with. J.K. Rowling's the only person who knew how to do it, I guess.
Yeah, and like it's just where we get into like where you have good writers and bad writers, and that's basically like what we're basically saying here. It's it's consistently we could see that like there's a good writing and bad writing in so much stuff, which I
Also,
really feel what.
sorry, I thought you were done there. Finish your thought.
Well, what I was doing is I was gonna transition there at that point.
Oh,
So
okay,
like
then
you have to say.
before you transition, one other thing. The thing that was getting me out of My Hero before even like the structural stuff was it but from episode one, from the minute you say go, it bugged me that like the here like the premise of it is like heroes are such a big deal now that you can literally go to boarding school to like train to become a hero. And I'm watching this, I'm like these kids training to become heroes, they're on the news. Like people put them on the news like draft picks for college football. Like everyone can see them. What is stopping a villain from just attacking their family? The reason Spider-Man wears a mask is so that his family isn't put in danger. Deku's on national news with just his legal name. Like what? And like heroes just get like brand deals, like professional heroes. Like people just know who they are. It's like if LeBron James was just a superhero. It's like what's happening? Like
Yeah, there's no alter ego.
yeah, there's no alter ego. So what's to stop people from attacking them? Like listen, Iron Man 3 is a really bad movie, but like they at least acknowledge that like when like Tony Stark doxes himself in that movie. He challenges the villain to a fight and just gives his home address, and the villain just sends an airstrike to his mansion because Tony Stark's an idiot for doxing himself. But like that's what would happen as soon as you're doxed and your public info's out there as a superhero. The villains are just gonna come attack you at your house.
Yeah, it's just so stupid. Like you that's the whole thing with My Hero that like for me because of the flip-flopping back and forth between the mundane and that it really pulled me out of the series because the part of the series I got to is where all the bad guys were facing off against all this bad stuff, and then holy cow, the bad guys got like the big mushroom from Mario, and oh my gosh, our powers have upgraded, and so it's just like, ooh, our powers are more powerful now, and it's just like, and then and then all the bad guys who were fighting against the other bad guys were like, "Hey, let's actually team up and let's become like this group of people."
Hey,
It's
you're
like
pretty cool with all those
you're
with all
pretty
those heads.
you're pretty cool. You make people vanish into dust. Cool.
That's so cool.
It's just
It's like
like,
the,
stop it. This is
it's like the
retarded.
yeah, it's like the goth kids from South Park. You're such a poser.
Yes. So, what I mainly want to talk about this episode, besides what we're talking about here, is like good writing and good characters and stuff of that nature. And
Yeah,
one of
that's
the
just the
things that we
theme for the
talked
whole
about,
podcast.
yeah, just good characters, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And so, mainly what I want to talk about right now is Transformers. And I want to transition into this point because you got me into Transformers a lot. And I knew about some characters, but I didn't know about them. And you were like, you need to read the IDW run by Simon Furman. Simon Furman, for those who
Yes.
don't know, he's a British writer for Transformers. He came over to the US, did some work in writing it here, and then eventually he got picked up by IDW and did like a
Also,
phase with them.
to look at my screen right now, I pulled up the IDW continuity for visual references while we do this. I want you to appreciate this image right here is a like thing they put in one of their comics in like 2012, which was like 6 years before it ended, summarizing everything that had happened up until now. I want you to appreciate the caption under all of this.
What's the caption? About a fifth of what happens. Yeah, that's totally understandable.
We've got
So,
Nemesis Prime. We've got Cop on his going crazy on his planet. We've got Last Stand of the Records, which you haven't read yet. We've got Thunderwing. We've got Megatron killing Optimus from Escalation. Verity, Headmasters with Scorponok. Devastator, because they introduced combiners in All Hail Megatron. Thundercracker surfing a nuke. You'll know what that's about eventually. And that's just a fifth of what happened.
yes. So, what I want to mention about Transformers is so we started out with Transformers because I was talking about Beast Wars, and you put me through the Furman run.
Yes,
And then I
which is all here, including a couple of miniseries that he didn't write, like Megatron Origin, but that's all summarized at this window right here.
so in this particular window here, the only ones I did not read, if I remember correctly, are New
This,
Avengers and Megatron Origin.
yes,
Yeah.
and I also had you skip Spotlight Ramjet because that was not written
Oh
by
yeah.
Furman.
Okay. But yeah, so
Which,
as
which to
I'm
be
reading
fair,
all these,
Cup wasn't either, but he's going to be important going forward, so I had you read that.
yes, so as I'm reading all these, like the first thing, if I remember correctly, you started me on was Ultramag?
No, Shockwave was
No,
first.
Shockwave. No? Yes, Shockwave, Soundwave, then Ultramag is what you did for me.
Yeah, I did not do it in the order that it is here. I tried to do it in
Yeah.
chronological order, not release order.
Yes, chronological I feel is significantly better. Because there's wait, did I read Wheelie as well? I don't think I read Wheelie.
No, you did. It was the only issue with this entire run that you messaged me after and was like, "Wow, that was a slog." And I was like, "Yes, it
Oh yeah.
was." Oh,
Yes.
also Spotlight Mirage. I also didn't have you read that
Oh yes.
because
Yes.
it was not written by Furman and it sucks.
Sermon Furman. So yes, so as I'm starting to read the stuff, like I get through Shockwave Ultra, like I think I got through Shockwave and Soundwave, and I was hooked. Was beyond hooked
Yes.
at that point. I read 2 issues, and it was like 50 pages max, maybe more,
Okay,
maybe
so
50 to 60 pages.
I found the ordered list I gave you. The order I gave you was Shockwave, Six Shot, Hot Rod, Soundwave, and Ultra Magnus, and then Stormbringer, which is where you get into the actual miniseries.
Okay. So, what was the list? Soundwave, Shockwave.
Shockwave, Six Shot, Hot Rod, Soundwave, Magnus.
Okay. No, actually, I think I was hooked after Shockwave. Like
Yeah, Shockwave's really good.
you had me at Shockwave, and then you showed me Six Shot, and Six Shot by far is one of my top
Yeah,
Transformers now, just because of how insane he is.
he's awesome. Like this, like IDW is like really interesting because it has IDW simultaneously has some of the absolute uncontested best storylines, moments, characters in all of Transformers, and it simultaneously has, bar none, uncontested, some of the absolute worst stories and worst characters in all of Transformers. So like it's a real mixed bag depending on what comics you're reading, but like I could make a list of all the Transformers who like they are the best versions of them are in IDW, and Six Shot's definitely one of them. Like he's awesome in this.
Yes. So okay, of the ones I'm looking here in the bottom, like a few other writers contributed. The only one you had me read of that was
It's a Cup.
you had me read two of them. You Cup and Wheelie.
Well, Wheelie was co-written with Furman, says Klaus
Yeah.
co-wrote the standalone with Furman. So
Yeah.
that's why I included Wheelie because Furman's name was still on it.
So so one of the things I'm also like super into is military history and understanding like how military people work together. And one of my favorite podcasts out right now, it's called the Unsubscribed Podcast. It's basically a bunch of military fanatics, former military people, or gun nuts who get together and create a spotlight for people to just come out and speak about stuff. And one of my major points for referencing this podcast is a lot of these guys you basically look at them as they're like the dad figure who gets challenged by their son, and the dad's like, okay, I haven't got time to deal with this, let me get the job done quickly and show the boy who's boss, and then tell him to go do the chore or whatever. But they act this way with each other in the sense of they like poke fun at each other like the boys. They
Yeah.
they know how to mess with each other's kids. They all are like one big family, but at the same time, if the world were to go to crap tomorrow, all of them would group together and they would be like a super team who could
Yeah.
jump into any sort of moment and be like, I can do this thing. I can just be like this super awesome soldier who can protect my family and all this stuff. And these guys are heavily armed. The least armed person of this friend group has 30 guns. Least armed. And mind you, the least armed one who has 30 guns, he is former police officer, former Navy. Now married to a crazy Latina woman.
Mm.
So you really don't want to mess with them. But I mention these guys to tag into um, Furman's run of Transformers because the guys that I'm talking about who are the boys who can joke with each other, but they know how to get work done. There is a team like this in Furman's run. And Furman is one of the most prolific writers of their content. Is known as the Wreckers.
Mm.
And I don't know about anybody else, but I feel a deep connection with the Wreckers because of how insane this group is. They are like the SEAL Team 6 Delta Force guys who are supposed to be sent on an impossible mission, and they're joking the entire time like, "Hey, once we get finished here, like you want to go do this thing." And I was telling Favor about this earlier. Yeah, this image right here is just ugh. These
Yeah,
guys.
This is the lineup from the run you just read. Some
Yeah,
of them.
and I am so excited when I get to hear about the Wreckers, in which it makes me want to go back and read more until I get to the three series about the Wreckers.
Yeah, the Wreckers
And
trilogy.
I went to go like watch a little video earlier today in preparation for this podcast just to make sure that I understood the Wreckers and I was not misinterpreting them. And I got the little bit of information I did about like Furman being the most prolific writer of the Wreckers,
Yeah.
um, and that he also was the guy who basically brought them into the spotlight, but then also allowed them to have their three different series that was written about them. And it was just like, these
Yeah,
guys are
well,
so freaking cool.
Furman created the team. Like, he's not just their most prolific writer, he created the team in the original
Yeah,
Marvel
yes, I remember
comics.
you saying that because it was a group of characters who
Weren't
weren't in the
being.
show.
Yeah, none of them except for. So, like, Broadside right here, Sandstorm, and Springer. Well, Broadside and Sandstorm had minor roles, like they appeared in a couple of episodes. Springer was a main character in the show, but the rest of them weren't in the show. None of them were appearing in the US version of the Marvel comic. So like because none of them were being used, Furman knew he could just use them for whatever he wanted. So he was like, I'll just create a SEAL Team 6 with these characters no one's using. And that's become the most
And,
famous version of any of these characters.
and so being the military nut, like gun person that I am, because I grew up in the country and like I at one point thought about going into the military and I got denied because of some medicine I took, but whatever. I still love military history. I still love getting to see like the crazy BA guys out there doing the things that like in our history books we never learned about. And so like one of the guys I like to watch, shout out Nick over at the Fat Electrician. Like I love his work because he tells history in a way that like I feel that is super engaging, super informative, and also from a perspective of the guy just took 40 hours to maybe 80 hours to study the topic that he was talking about before bringing you any sort of information and recording the video. He does 40 to 80 hours of prep work before he starts recording a video, which is, I think, stellar. And that is just for one single video. And he puts out one of his personal like historical videos like this twice a month. So
Mm.
he spends a full work week getting it all done. Then he records it, and then he sends it to his editor to have it all done. And to see these super cool characters throughout our personal history, and then you get to see them in a fictitious world like Transformers. It just brings everything super into perspective, and I really think a lot of people could identify with this, especially within like the bros. So like you got guys who like a prime example right now is the re-release of Black Ops 1 and 2. It just like got re-released, did remaster or something like that. And because of that, you have these guys who grew up playing this game. And then all of a sudden, they all get back in the chat and they're all kind of quiet for a second. And then they all start saying the gamer words again. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's like it was back in the day. It's so nice. And then you've got guys getting together who haven't been together forever. They start playing the game. They're like, man, I'm about to hard flex on these noobs. And they're about to be like reliving the glory days, essentially. And so these guys who are getting together and playing with their old like COD squads or whatever, or playing games with their like squads, and then it's essentially that but in Transformers. And like reading through the section with the Wreckers and I don't remember which was it in Devastation that the Wreckers appeared.
Their biggest role, I want to say their biggest role was in Stormbringer, but they appeared like sporadically throughout most of the parts.
Okay, well, so wherever they appeared, when they first appear,
Here's
like
another good one. Check
they're
out this
broken.
video.
Yeah,
Look at their
like
smiles as they hold the dismembered
yeah, they're just like
weapons.
bros. It's like, yeah, man, what it do? And it's just like it's it's truly like the boys, and every guy like can identify with the boys. It's like
Yeah.
me and the boys got together and we did some tomfoolery. We were up to no good, some shenanigans, and so like I feel like the Wreckers are the boys, and everybody wants to be with the boys.
Yeah, the Wreckers.
So
That's a really good way of thinking about it. To pop your bubble a little bit, you'll find out as you get sort of into the Wreckers trilogy. The Wreckers have a very high mortality rate because they always take the
yeah,
most dangerous missions. So lots of them don't
I,
live long enough for
I've
them.
had a little bit of spoilers from that. I've had just a little bit. Like I know, I think it was like somebody was the leader of the Wreckers at one point, and then he took like a big hit, and then Ultra Mag hops in as the leader
That
after
was
that.
the that was in the original Marvel run, and it was Springer, not Ultra Magnus, who took over. That's why Springer's the
Okay.
current leader in IDW because he was the second leader in the original Marvel run. But
Does
ooh,
Ultra Mag hop in as a leader at one point?
there are some continuities like Transformers Prime, which you've
Okay.
watched an episode of. They eventually introduce Ultra Magnus in season three and establish that he is the leader of the Wreckers. So there are some versions where he is part of the Wreckers. He's going to appear in the first installment of the Wreckers trilogy, Last Stand of the Wreckers, not as a team member, but as like a frequent collaborator with them. He oftentimes like helps them out in their missions. So it's been an established thing for a while now that he frequently either works sort of as a freelance agent with them or is just a part of the team as the leader.
So one of the things I love about the Transformers wiki, if you would scroll up right there to that IDW image, scroll down just a little bit, right there, the IDW image they have that you pulled up already. The
Yeah, oh,
IDW
yeah.
Wreckers are so hardcore they don't even need a spaceship, except for when they do.
Yes. Because they do
Like,
have a spaceship right here, but they never use it almost ever.
yeah, yeah. And so then you go back to the other image, and it was, or the yeah, and scroll down a little further. I think it's the next image on the left. Welcome to die.
Yeah.
And it's just like these are such bro phrases, and so like I really really love the Wreckers, and so I went back and to do a little bit of research. I made sure I also checked out the the scenes from Dark of the Moon with the Wreckers. Now, mind you, I know the Wreckers are different in Dark of the Moon than they are in the comics or anything of that nature. And
Shockingly
I
different.
yes, they're very very much so different. But the thing
They're a bunch of hillbillies.
well, no, actually, one of them speaks like Hispanic. One of them speaks Australian, and then the other one speaks something else.
Well, one of them just doesn't speak in Dark of the Moon, but they're no, you're right. They don't talk like hillbillies. But look at this. They're like, dude, they turned to NASCAR. Just supposed to be NASCAR fans. Look, this guy has a mullet. Look at this.
Oh, I never noticed that.
He's got a mullet and shades.
I mean, bro, that's the boys, and
And
I
then
think
and
it's
then like and then like, hold on. Let me. Oh, I need to find a good. Is there gonna be? Oh, there's not gonna be a good image of it. This is
I
close up.
really feel
This guy has a beer gut. Look at him.
yeah
They
yeah
made one of
well
them
look,
fat. Look, he's fat, bald, and has shades. They're NASCAR fans. They're supposed to be hillbillies.
I love this though about them because though they may have changed the theme a little bit, the boys are still there. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that is
They
something I
still
like.
give off the voice.
Something that Michael Bay, like for all of the faults of those movies, one thing that they're really good at is the big criticism is the Transformers aren't in them enough, which is true. The Transformers are hardly in the movies that are named after them. But something they're really good at is giving the Transformers lots of character in the few scenes that they're in. Like going back and rewatching it, dude. Ironhide Ironhide across three different movies. I think I looked at a let me look at it. Ironhide all scenes across three movies. Ironhide has 13 minutes of screen time, and yet just from the first movie, he's so well characterized. Like they do so good at like telling you who these characters are when most of them have like maybe 3 minutes of screen time and five lines. Like it's actually kind of amazing.
Yeah, and I think that's what's the brilliance behind so much of like the Transformers. You don't have to have a ton of their characters shown to really get a grasp of who they are.
I would
Um,
argue I would argue you should, but that's part of the genius of those movies. Like we talk about all the time. One of our favorite Ironhide moments, like one of the it gives you so much character out of him is when Optimus is upset because he finds out that humans have been hiding stuff from him. They're like, "What is this? The Transformer silent treatment?" Ironhide goes, "We've seen that, and this is not that. This is worse." And then he just goes, "Prime, make something of yourself!" and bonks him on the top of his cab.
yeah, and it was just like I really feel that like you get a personification of these characters so easily, so quickly, and I think it's true brilliance in an understanding of who the characters were, and that's what I love about like Transformers because you can learn so much about a character so fast. Um,
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you, sometimes it's a little bit of a slog. Like as I was reading through the IDW run, there was one particular character I wasn't necessarily a fan of at first, but I came around to like really appreciating who they are as a character and liking what happens, which is Nightbeat.
I knew you were gonna
Which I know
say
you,
it. He's one of my favorites. It makes me so
yeah.
upset you didn't like him.
Well, no, no. Initially, as I was reading through the comic, I didn't read all the way
And
through it. But yes, so I will tell you, at first, I wasn't a huge fan, like, but I was only halfway through Nightbeat, and then we got to the end of Nightbeat. I was coming around to him,
yeah, real
and
quick, before you go any further, I do want to hear what you have to say, but I want to like set the stage for this because we've been jumping around a little bit. I want to do a quick summary of Furman's run, like what happens, and then we can talk about the specifics that you want to. Um,
okay. Well, I will tell you, yeah, it'll have to be kind of quicker because I don't have a ton of time left because of the time
oh,
of day it is here. It's almost,
yeah, no,
it's like 20 till 11 here.
yeah, so like the quick summary is that like the story of IDW as Furman told it is the Transformers had their war. Furman in his run didn't super get into what the war was about, but what he did establish was that the war lasted 4 million years, and that was so much time that the Transformers basically ran out of energon, which is their lifeblood. It's the thing that powers them. Cybertron was bled
Water.
dry of
It's
its
essentially water.
well, it's their water and it's also their blood. Like it serves. There's no direct comparison, but yeah, it's like it's their gasoline and their water and their blood and their food and the further you get into IDW, their alcohol. So like
Ah.
it functions for and steroids depending on how you make it. But
Mm,
Cybertron Cybertron was bled dry of its energy, and all of the different weapons and like wars and stuff also caused Cybertron to become so irradiated that they couldn't live on it. Like Cybertron was so irradiated that these robots could not survive on it without dying, and so they had to have a mass exodus from Cybertron. And because of that, because they lost their home planet, Megatron started a sort of crusades on the galaxy to cyberform alien planets and turn them into new worlds that the Transformers could live on. And Optimus Prime's response with the Autobots was obviously to stop them. And so the status quo of IDW is that basically Megatron will select a planet and send a team of Decepticons to it to conquer it. and Optimus will respond by sending a team of Autobots to it to defend the planet. And that is like sort of how the story kicks off. There are a bunch of other. It eventually blows all the way out into a third faction of Transformers invading from another universe, which is sort of like the Avengers Endgame conclusion to Furman's run. And there's also the Thunderwing. There's the Thunderwing subplot, but that's less important to the overall plot. Basic premise is the Transformers are on Earth to Decepticons to conquer, Autobots to defend, and they discover that there's a new form of energon on it, referred to as OR-13, which acts as super steroids, which basically causes everyone to flock to Earth at once to try to lay claim to it, and that's where the apocalyptic action scenes come in.
So for me personally, I read through all of this and I was really really hooked in the beginning with the Infiltration Stormbringer runs. Really into that stuff, and then I got into the Soundwave section, and and I got into the like Spotlight 2 range, and the Spotlight 2 range was really good. I liked it for what it was. Then we had Escalation and Devastation, and we can really start to see a little bit of like Furman was losing a little bit of his Devastation wasn't in a rush, but it was kind of in a rush.
Do you think so?
Not
Because
as
I
It
that's
wasn't as
interesting.
bad. It felt kind of rushed, but at the same time, it felt like it got all of its points across. It didn't feel
Uh,
like it was. It didn't feel like it was skipping things.
because Devastation is the arc where Six Shot comes to Earth, and
Yes.
it's all of the Autobots versus Six Shot. I never got the vibe from that it was rushed. To be fair, like Furman would have had to be told in advance that they were going to be cutting his run short. That's spoilers for people listening for how this whole story is going to turn out. So maybe he might have already been making adjustments to try to account for the issues he knew he wasn't going to have anymore. But like I've never that arc's never felt rushed to me. I like it a lot because for obvious reasons. I love Ratchet. I love the premise of Ratchet just basically desperately trying to survive and keep his pet humans alive while the Transformer version of the Incredible Hulk is rampaging after him.
I honestly think he's a little bit more powerful than Incredible Hulk.
I
I
mean,
feel like
probably. I'm just trying to find a comparison.
like you
Uh,
could probably
who's
call him Thanos.
who's the guy who killed Superman?
Which one?
Dooms. The
Well,
first
not
time they
Doom.
killed
It could be Doomsday. It could also
is
be what's it, Steppenwolf?
No, it's not. It's Doomsday. Yeah, the
Yeah.
guy who killed Superman in the Death of Superman line. Yeah, Doomsday.
Oh yeah.
He's like the Transformer equivalent of Doomsday. Ultra powerful, can destroy an entire planet on his own. By the way, that's Six Shot's role in Megatron's plan of conquering planets. He
If
sends a team
if
of
you wouldn't mind, show them Six Shot for me,
yeah.
just so they
If
can get a perspective of who Six Shot is.
like in Megatron's plan of conquering planets, what he does is he sends a team of Decepticons there to basically like take out all the infrastructure and like kill all the world leaders. And then he sends in characters like Six Shot to just
Which are
raise
a
the
living, walking apocalypse.
yeah, to raise the entire planet to the ground. Like the idea with Six Shot is once the weaker Decepticons have like killed all the most important humans, you evacuate them as far from the planet as possible, and you send in Six Shot by himself, and he just turns the entire planet into a wasteland by
It's kind
himself.
of like sending Kratos in to stop the gods.
It kind of is. It's like giving Kratos a gun. It's like, well, the entire world's well, goodbye world. You gave Kratos a gun.
Yes. And
It-
so I
he,
think that one of the things we can also mention here about Six Shot, a little bit of a spoiler, not much. He's one of the few characters that can do this one thing, which is typically Transformers have two forms. They have their vehicle form, they have their robot form. Six
Yes.
Shot has six forms.
Yes. There some of them are
And
on screen right now. He's got a tank mode, an animal mode, a jet mode, and let me look at a picture of his toy for the
there it
others. So
is.
gun mode, animal mode, tank mode, car mode, two jet modes. I guess those are two jet modes, and his robot mode for a total
Yeah,
of. If you include his robot form, seven modes, I guess. But yes, six
yeah,
shots,
yes,
six.
technically. He has six alternate forms, essentially. He is like one of the craziest uh Transformers of all time. And when I learned about Six Shot, it wasn't that it was just like, oh well, he's got the most, like so he's super cool. No, the whole concept around him, how he is the one that you send
Oh,
to
I
destroy
didn't.
planets.
I've never seen this. They were going to make a six shot statue at one point. That looks beautiful.
And I like how they say this at the bottom there, the Phase Sixers. That's a reference into the storyline as well. Like
Yeah.
the
Also,
Decepticons when talking about planets. Is that
look
Optimus?
who he's. No,
It's
that's Ultra
Ultramag, isn't
Magnus.
it? Oh,
Yeah,
you
that's a
monsters.
well. That's a reference. You know, I told you about all those Japanese original TV shows like the Headmasters.
Sure.
Look away from the screen for a minute.
Sure.
Okay, now you can look back. This is an episode of Transformers Headmasters. Look at the title.
Oh no.
And it's Six Shot who kills him. I think this might have been the episode which introduced Six Shot in the Headmasters. Like that's how they introduce him. He shows up and he kills the frick out of Ultra Magnus.
Okay, so for me, like I will tell you, two of my all-time favorite characters. Obviously, you already know about this favor. Two of my all-time favorite characters are Ultra Magnus and Six Shot. I don't know why I
Yes.
love Magnus so much, but I just do.
Dude, I feel the same way. I don't entirely know why I like Ultra Magnus as much as I do because he doesn't have his personality's never been my favorite of Transformers, but like there's just it's his design. I love his robot mode. I think he looks so cool.
Especially with the tall shoulder deal. Like I
Yes,
don't
yes,
understand
that's
what it is, but yeah, it's cool. So just a quick reference here with the Phase Sixers. So um, that was mentioned there in that image. Phase Six is essentially like what phase the Decepticons have when going to infiltrate a planet, do the tasks that they need to do to sap the planet of its resources, and then jump planet, and then they send in the Phase Sixers to destroy the planet, essentially.
here's a little bit of Ultra
And
Magnus for you.
yes, Ultra Magnus is just hot.
I
Wait, who
love
would
the
punch him?
show. That's a good question. Those are so I think the guy he's stepping on, I think that guy's name is Slugslinger, or Slugfest. That might be Ape Face he's punching, but like those are 1987 Decepticons, which full stop. Once you get to like Decepticons and Autobots that were made later than 1987, I kind of stop remembering who's who.
But so yes, for me, I have become such I've gained such a growing love for Transformers and the time that we've done this, and I've begun to slowly but surely relate to them, and even seeing it in the Bay movies with like the hillbilly wreckers. We still get to see like the characters as a whole and see how good they are. And I think
Uh,
part of this podcast that we're also going to
okay,
be doing is just mainly talking and showing you good characters and
okay,
showing you like
I figured out he's
integrity.
punching
Oh gosh,
Hunger is the guy's name, which you'll notice he's got the same vehicle mode as Double Cross does.
yes, Double Cross. That's another one of mine. Double Cross is okay. Do we want to give them the exact name we use for characters like Double Cross, or do we want to have like a different name that we have for the characters who are not necessarily known that are our favorites, if you remember what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. That's a good question. I don't know. I think we should just use the normal names because, like, if we're talking, dude, normies aren't even going to know who Ultra Magnus is. So, like, if we're doing it on
Sure.
like
No, I'm talking about the Glub name is what I'm talking about.
the what names?
Glub.
Oh, the yeah. Well, no, let's just use their names, like, because like every character in Transformers is like that to a normie. Like,
Yeah. If it's not Optimus, if it's not Megatron, if it's not Starscream, if it's not Bumblebee, they really don't know
yeah,
who they are.
yeah. Find me a normie who knows who Brawn is.
Dude, Braun has had like 5 appearances in total. That is it. Um,
Yeah.
and one of them was for like 3 seconds, maybe.
Yeah.
But so yes, I really love this like podcast setting that we're gonna do here. Now, mind you, we're gonna have to cut it a little bit short today, but that's just because of I'm having to deal with some time constraints with um the rules for being quiet, especially when you live in apartment buildings. Which is the apartment building I currently live in. Like I have a neighbor who's very, very particular about being quiet at particular times. So I like to be respectful of that. But I believe next week when we go to record our next podcast, I will be in a totally different building. That way we can record for longer, have a longer episode. But I really want to like just touch on like good good characters, good stories, good things that we can talk about, but at the same time, we're going to have some wild opinions. Like, I know it's the name of the show, but at the same time, like saying My Hero Academia sucks is a wild opinion to some people. Saying Transformers is actually really good is a wild opinion to some people.
Yeah, it's
But
good beyond the meme. LOL. Giant robots punch each other. I like this because I'm a red-blooded American man. Like, it's good beyond that. Like,
yeah, part of the thing I have to deal with here myself is like I'm living in a Slavic culture, and so a lot of the people here don't understand the concept of blowing things up. And yet, the same time, the way I explain it to them is just like, us Americans, we sure do like things that go boom,
mm,
and they are just like, yeah, totally get it. Whereas like a lot of like Russian or like Slavic cultures are very afraid of bombs or anything like that because they've experienced war for so long in their entire lives. But yes, so I really, really like getting to do this again. Me and Favor have actually done a podcast before, and um, it was a little bit different, but we've matured since then, and we've been
oh,
able.
yes. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to edit this, even if I knew how to. I wanted to intro this by talking about
The
that.
two of us had a podcast that we did in the past, and the podcast was a lot of fun, but at the same time, like we were two people in two totally different states, not different states as in like states like location wise, but states mentally, and I feel like neither one of us were mature enough at the moment to really really dive into that, but at the same time also. Um, um, the dynamic just kind of wasn't there because there was such a divide between us when it came to specific topics. And um, the divide may not be like very large, but it was large enough. And now that I have like stepped into the Transformers world and I see what Favor sees and I see like the JoJo side of things and I see these things and I've become deeply invested in the same things that Favor has become invested in. He has begun to become invested in the things that I have, like with One Piece and some of the other topics, and that way we can connect them back to some of our favorite things that we love.
Yes, and on that old podcast, I had an entire like intro to this that I had like thought up that I completely forgot about as soon as we hit record. I hate myself, but so wild. We had that original podcast. Maybe I'll shout it out in the next episode or something. I don't know, but we had that podcast and it died, and it unfortunately died at it. Unfortunately, I still stand by that it needed to die. Sure, yeah, I know that. Like it's good that we took time off, that we sort of grew as people, and now we can do this again. I still regret that it died at like the worst possible point. The one episode we recorded but didn't release was the funniest one of all the ones we'd recorded. That was the one with the Toshiro Mifune and Godzilla negotiating with America about the Mario movie.
I love that entirely.
That was in the episode we didn't drop. I'm still so sad. But
I know. But the thing is,
that
I
epi-
even lost the whole recording for it, so it's
yeah,
not
I
even
know,
like
I know, I know. There's nothing to be done about it. But that podcast ended, and now we are back, and we're going to be even better. We are experiencing our steel ball run of our podcasts. We are in a new universe. It is
a
rebooted.
rebirth.
We have rebooted just like JoJo, just like the original JoJo universe. We ended on our strongest point. We ended on Godzilla and Toshiro Mifune negotiating over Mario. We ended at our best point, and so now we're going into our best arc ever. We're gonna do even better. We are exactly mirroring JoJo's right now. This is the Steel Ball Run universe of the Wild Opinions podcast. We changed the name unlike JoJo. So there's one thing that's different. But I'm saying
No,
that's what this is.
technically it's changed. Technically it changed, according to Netflix. Because
Oh, are they?
on Netflix it's called on Netflix it's called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure up through up through part 6, and then it's called Steel Ball Run after that.
Oh, did they actually? So they committed to that. Good for them. I like that.
Yes, they did.
Yes. So
It's two
we
totally
are
different
one.
series.
Yeah. So we are 100%. We are Steel Ball Run, and we're going to be as great as Steel Ball Run. I
And then
probably had
eventually
a,
we're gonna turn into JoJolian.
which will also be good, but then it'll end bad, which does not bode well for this podcast. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah, yeah. But yes. So I'm really excited to get to do this again. It was really great getting to sit down and talk with you again, Favor, obviously.
Yes.
Just getting to discuss our favorite things. All right. Well, I appreciate your favor.
I appreciate you, Wild.
Hey, this has been Wild Opinions.
Wild Opinions. We will see you next time.